Shen Shi urges that they get out of there first, and the two quickly move through the water inside the tiny orb he created. While traveling, he checks whether Ning Yanyan has any special way to contact Ning Shenming. Ning Yanyan explains that she cannot directly converse with Ning Shenming, but she can still send simple messages. That is enough for Shen Shi, so he instructs her to let Ning Shenming know she is safe, and she agrees before activating the device in her hand, causing it to glow. Afterward, Ning Yanyan quietly stares at Shen Shi's face while he keeps looking ahead seriously. Once he notices her stare, he wonders what is bothering her, and she admits there is something she does not understand. Shen Shi prompts her to continue, so she questions why she needs to inform Ning Shenming that she is safe. Shen Shi explains that, if his guess is correct, the attack on Ning Yanyan is actually meant to lure out the sect master. When she wonders why he feels that way, Shen Shi points out that although he only just arrived, Ning Yanyan should have already sent a distress signal. Yet not a single other Gold Stage elder came to help her. Ning Yanyan confirms that he is right, and Shen Shi continues that this means the surrounding Gold Stage elders are being held back. Going through that much trouble simply to surround and kill Ning Yanyan, a disciple who has not even grown up yet, makes little sense. Putting the pieces together, Ning Yanyan wonders if killing her is meant to lure Ning Shenming into an ambush, and Shen Shi admits that it is a possibility. Grateful for being saved, she gives Shen Shi many thanks before wondering where they are heading next. Shen Shi explains that the other disciples here have also been attacked, so he wants to go take a look. Meanwhile, Dong Yueli's hair dramatically flutters in the air as she and the other disciples remain on guard, soon noticing an enemy in the sky. She immediately warns everyone that someone is coming and that they need to stay alert. The enemy scoffs at the sight of a bunch of refinement stage dolls, then gathers powerful aura into his palm and launches enormous rocks toward Dong Yueli and the others, declaring that they should die. Xuanyu immediately steps forward, ordering everyone else to move back because she will block it. She raises the shield Shen Shi gave her and faces the incoming attack head-on. The enemy mocks Xuanyu for being so full of herself, since a mere refinement stage actually dares to block his attack. Unfortunately for him, the moment the rocks smash against Xuanyu's shield, they break apart into smaller pieces, revealing the hidden layers of aura built into the shield. Xuanyu proceeds to block the remaining rocks just as easily, and a massive explosion erupts around them. Once the attack passes, she remarks that apparently, a refinement stage really can block an attack from the gold stage. Shen Shi explains that the physique of someone with 4 spirit roots is terrible for cultivating heavenly martial skills, but those various spirit roots also allow spiritual power to be dissipated through the 5 element cycles. As long as the incoming attack uses spiritual power, Xuanyu can rely on her 5 element cycle to weaken that originally powerful spiritual force layer by layer, meaning she has finally found a fighting style suited to her physique. The enemy merely scoffs after discovering that Xuanyu possesses such impressive treasures. He demands that she obediently hand them over and serve him, promising not to kill her if she cooperates. Xiao Qi'er scoffs right back, warning him to wait until her master arrives, because once that happens, he will not have any chance to escape. If he is smart enough, maybe he can still save his life. The enemy dismisses her warning as a joke and wonders who she believes her master even is, before declaring that he only wants to see what kind of flowers the girls will turn into. Then Shen Shi suddenly scoffs. The enemy instantly becomes alarmed as he senses Shen Shi's presence, and in the very next moment, chains bind him in place. He immediately figures that something is wrong. The coercion suppressing him is incredibly powerful, and while he struggles to understand how this is happening, an even worse problem hits him. His body cannot move. Dong Yueli, Xiao Qi'er, and Xuanyu immediately recognize the opening. Dong Yueli raises her hand and activates her technique, turning the water into ice as Han Xianpi rushes forward. Using the ice Dong Yueli creates beneath her, she races toward the enemy with ease, then jumps from the ground and aggressively spins her body through the air before slamming a kick into him and sending him crashing onto the ice. The enemy curses Han Xianpi as a stinky brat while acknowledging her ridiculous strength. These brats clearly cannot be underestimated, so he plans to sacrifice those spirit clones to survive this wave of attacks first. Once the heavenly martial arts fade, he intends to kill every last one of them. Before that can happen, Xiao Qi'er unleashes her skill, Cutting Spirit Wheel. The enemy immediately wonders what kind of trick this is, especially since even dodging it somehow still leaves him with the feeling that he could be killed. But because he hesitates, while still unable to move, Xiao Qi'er's attack lands cleanly, and blood bursts from his chest. He screams and vows that he will not let any of them escape that day, planning to tie them up and slowly play with them until they are all crippled. His threat barely finishes before he suddenly groans in pain. A sword has pierced straight through his chest from behind. Xiao Qi'er then reminds him that she already warned him. Once her master arrives, he has no chance to run. The sword tears free from the opponent's body and immediately returns to Shen Shi's hand. Grabbing it without hesitation, he strikes the orb protecting her and Ning Yanyan, shattering the barrier apart. Watching this, Ning Yanyan already knows Shen Shi is a famous swordsman, but she never expects him to cultivate the Emperor's sword flow as well. On top of that, the immortal sword in his possession is obviously far stronger than green bamboo, leaving her wondering just how many secrets Shen Shi is still hiding. Xiao Qi'er quickly runs toward Shen Shi with the other disciples following behind, calling out to him as they approach. Shen Shi checks whether they are all right, and Dong Yueli confirms that they are fine. However, Xiao Qi'er immediately questions why Ning Yanyan appears together with Shen Shi, especially when she looks like she is in such a bad state. Ning Yanyan clears her throat and brushes away the debris that fell on her, then complains that Shen Shi was simply too rude and only cared about pleasing himself. He suddenly appeared without a word, never even bothering to get her opinion first. That wording instantly does psychic damage to everyone nearby. Dong Yueli is surprised and pissed. Xuanyu becomes flustered. Han Shampi is equally stunned, while Kang Yuling starts wondering whether Shen Shi smacked Ning Yanyan's ass. Xiao Qi'er then menacingly questions Shen Shi about what exactly happened, forcing Shen Shi to repeatedly urge her to wait. He explains that the situation was urgent, so she had to be brought up from underneath, and breaking through the ice was the only option. Dong Yueli finally lets out a sigh of relief, figuring that was all Ning Yanyan meant. Unfortunately for Shen Shi, Ning Yanyan is not finished. She adds that while Shen Shi was underneath, he was not in any rush at all, even mentioning that it felt good and all that, causing Shen Shi to curse internally. He can only wonder whether Ning Yanyan picked up that kind of language from watching movies. Meanwhile, Xiao Qi'er has practically transformed into a devil fueled by fiery rage. Shen Shi hurriedly clarifies Ning Yanyan's meaning, explaining that when he saw them fighting the gold stage cultivator, their improvement felt incredibly good. Kang Yuling immediately backs him up and questions whether she has improved too, confidently insisting that she already knows she has, even though her senior sister never believes her. Ning Yanyan, Xiao Qi'er, and Xuanyu all share the exact same thought. Kang Yuling did absolutely nothing earlier. Still, Shen Shi agrees that Kang Yuling has improved and confirms that he saw everything himself, leaving Ning Yanyan to conclude that Shen Shi is frighteningly good at coaxing kids. With that little disaster temporarily contained, Xiao Qi'er shifts back to the real problem and questions why an ambush suddenly happened, wondering whether everything could have been premeditated. Shen Shi explains that things are not that simple, but there is no reason to worry since he is here. Internally, though, he has a much bigger headache. He has no idea how far the main storyline has already changed, or how he is supposed to drag this entire group back onto the route he originally arranged. At that moment, Ning Yanyan notices the creature nearby and questions whether it is the centennial snakefish, wondering how it somehow ended up dead like this. Shen Shi figures they basically went around in a giant circle only to return here anyway, but whatever, this outcome is not bad either. Ning Yanyan immediately laughs and declares that she noticed it first, meaning she wins. Unfortunately, Xiao Qi'er is already sprinting toward the centennial snakefish. She points out that their bet was about whoever catches the centennial snakefish first, so according to the actual rules, she is clearly the winner. Ning Yanyan instantly screams that Xiao Qi'er is shameless, while Xiao Qi'er casually declares that Ning Yanyan has lost their bet. Watching the two of them go at it, Shen Shi can only compare the whole scene to elementary students fighting. Then the supposedly dead centennial snakefish suddenly wakes up. It violently wriggles in Xiao Qi'er's hand, catching her by surprise, before smashing through the ice and diving straight into the water with Xiao Qi'er still being dragged along. Shen Shi's other disciples immediately become worried for Xiao Qi'er, but Shen Shi keeps everyone from panicking, assuring them that Xiao Qi'er is capable of protecting herself. He then directs his sword into the hole created by the centennial snakefish. Ning Yanyan points out that the centennial snakefish's realm is not low and that it becomes strongest inside the water. So she questions whether Shen Shi is really certain Xiao Qi'er will be fine. For Shen Shi, there is no problem at all. Everything is under his control, and internally, he is practically celebrating because this accidental development finally gives them a way back onto the main storyline. The centennial snakefish can bring Xiao Qi'er directly to the nascent cave. The only issue is that opening the cave still requires a little time. A few moments pass, and everyone continues waiting around the hole. Ning Yanyan remembers how Shen Shi carried her in and out of the water with complete freedom. His water escape art could obviously rescue Xiao Qi'er with ease, which leaves her wondering whether he has some other plan. Then, Shen Shi suddenly announces that it is coming. The water begins violently bubbling as a colorful light bursts from the hole. Ning Yanyan immediately identifies it as the five-colored spirit light and wonders whether the immortal cave has finally appeared. The centennial snakefish cracks open the cave and barges straight inside while Xiao Qi'er is still clinging to its tail. Without wasting a second, Xiao Qi'er activates Cutting Spirit Wheel and slams it directly into the creature's head, but the attack does absolutely nothing, and the centennial snakefish retaliates by throwing her onto the ground. With things already looking terrible, Xiao Qi'er remembers Shen Shi and wonders how she can possibly die before he even arrives. She convinces herself that Shen Shi will definitely come to save her, then quickly jumps off the ground and dodges the centennial snakefish's razor-sharp teeth. The creature lets out a threatening hiss, leaving Xiao Qi'er speechless, but she suddenly remembers that she still has some mutated Edelweiss herb left over from Shen Shi. At a time like this, saving it would be completely pointless, so she immediately eats the Edelweiss herb he previously gave her. A powerful aura surges from Xiao Qi'er's body, and she charges straight at the centennial snakefish, landing a direct hit on its eye. The creature lets out a painful hiss, but her weapon gets stuck inside it, and she is knocked back onto the ground. Cursing internally, Xiao Qi'er knows the difference in power is simply way too large. The centennial snakefish hisses at her again before charging forward, and with Shen Shi once again filling her mind, the situation reaches its worst possible point. Then, multiple sword slashes suddenly tear through the centennial snakefish. The attacks slice across its body, and the massive creature immediately collapses onto the ground. Seeing this, Xiao Qi'er declares that she knew Shen Shi was there the entire time. Meanwhile, Shen Shi and the others enter the cave, where Ning Yanyan explains that the shifting array must be a relic left behind by an ancient immortal. If this place belongs to an ancient gold stage cultivator, then they have seriously hit the jackpot. Xuanyu wonders whether it would be less impressive if the owner were only a gold stage cultivator, but Ning Yanyan clarifies that a normal gold cultivator would indeed be nothing special. Ancient cultivators, however, are extremely rare, and even one at that level would still leave behind a mountain of cultivation materials. More importantly, ancient cultivators possess research into arrays and secret arts that is far from ordinary, while the danger inside an ancient immortal cave is relatively low. Basically, this is the premium treasure hunting package, and Xuanyu finally gets the point. Shen Shi, however, already knows that this cave belongs to an ancient nascent stage cultivator, someone powerful enough to stand at the level of a faction leader. According to the original development, Xiao Qi'er is supposed to suffer grave injuries after a fierce battle and fall unconscious. Her spiritual affinity will then attract the earth spirits collected by the ancient immortal, allowing her to absorb them right when she needs them for a breakthrough. Once that happens, Xiao Qi'er can jump directly into the foundation building stage, and the spells she mastered long ago can finally be supplied with actual power. Most importantly, she can finally carry him. At that moment, Kang Yu Ling notices something appearing and wonders what it is. Shen Shi identifies it as an earth spirit, explaining that ancient immortals supposedly extracted these innate spirit entities from the spiritual energy of the earth. In their natural state, earth spirits automatically approach cultivators whose spiritual affinity matches them. Kang Yu Ling understands the explanation and points out that Shen Shi has the highest affinity among everyone there. That immediately catches Shen Shi off guard. Flustered, he wonders why the spirits are not going after Xiao Qi'er instead, while Kang Yu Ling concludes that the spirits apparently like Shen Shi already. Shen Shi can only wonder whether this is another advantage forcibly stuffed onto him by the heavenly Tao, and at this point, he is basically damned by his own good fortune. Before he can deal with that headache, he suddenly senses Xiao Qi'er's presence ahead and becomes alarmed. Something is wrong, because Xiao Qi'er has just been injured. Sure enough, he soon finds Xiao Qi'er lying on the ground and immediately approaches her. Since the plot clearly refuses to move by itself, Shen Shi decides he might as well do the job personally. He pushes one of the earth spirits into Xiao Qi'er and orders it to go, then notices that the spirit's energy has begun merging with the Edelweiss. Dong Yueli wonders about Xiao Qi'er's injuries, and Shen Shi assures her that there are no problems. He will remain behind to look after her, because this is Xiao Qi'er's opportunity, while the ancient immortal cave still contains plenty of other opportunities for everyone else. They can continue exploring as long as they remain within his line of sight. However, Shen Shi remembers another troublesome detail from the main storyline he wrote. After Xiao Qi'er obtains the earth spirit, the cave is supposed to expel her, meaning there is something inside this place that he never wrote about, and anything unknown is automatically dangerous. Right then, Xuanyu calls out to Shen Shi and warns him that something is behind him. Shen Shi is confused because he cannot sense even the slightest danger, but when he turns around, a gigantic spirit is suddenly right in front of him. The spirit wraps her arms around Shen Shi and begins to reveal what she wants, only to be interrupted before she can finish. Shen Shi immediately pulls away and demands to know what the spirit is doing.